Watch me ride.
Hey everybody, Divi's back! Got the tyre on this morning. Another Metzeler RHOK 01. Thanks to Metzeler for sending me that. Absolutely love these tyres. But obviously I've got to now wear that in a little bit. I don't think it's as bad as the people make out. Or as bad as it used to be, scrubbing tyres in. But that's a completely different subject that I'm not going to get into. I do have a subject for this video, which you'll probably guess in the title, but I'll get to that in a second. Right, sorry, I wanted to get down this way because it'd be quieter than sat on the motorway. Basically, I'm not getting to like, oh god, this is a big subject, so I want to keep it very, very small to this one thing that I'm going to be talking about. Start at the beginning, local Facebook group. Someone posts on there a thing that says, I've just seen this mother with two 5-year-old sons. She was being shouting and abusive towards them in public. She was making them run. To the point that they couldn't run anymore. She was making them do press-ups. It was cold. It wasn't very nice. When they quite clearly showed that they couldn't go any further, she became more aggressive and shouting at them. And this person was, you know, very taken aback by this. So he decided to, he called the police about it. He tried to speak to her about it and apparently got abuse off of her. And he also posted on this local Facebook group to be, I guess the reason why was to be like, well, the police aren't really on top of things around here, so if it's seen again, people will go, and this realise it's a real child abuse issue going on. Now, for all we know, because this was around Easter, maybe they broke into their Easter egg collection and ate all of them, and she was like, you're going to do exercise now, sonny. And it was a punishment. As you're not allowed to smack kids, I could see how someone could try and use that as a punishment. I'm not going to get involved with the rights and the wrongs of it, but it didn't sound very good, you know. Anyway, the point of this is this person posted this on this local Facebook group. Now, there was one line in this is what caused all the trouble. This person referred to her as having a council estate accent. Now, in this area, we all know what that means. There is an accent which people have in and out of council estates. Some people in council estates do not have that accent. Some people who don't live on council estates still have that accent. But as a general rule, we all knew what that would mean. And coming from this area, I understood what they meant. Now, I can understand if you're from a council estate, or, you know, grew up on one, or live in one, you may feel that that is a reflection on you in a negative way. And what these multiple people did on this post was went off on one, saying about how offended they were about how he'd said council estate accent, how it was so derogatory and blah blah blah. It went on and it blew up, like it really blew up in this guy's face. And I was reading through some of this stuff and I'm like, I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. The way that people are putting the fact that they're offended that someone says they have, you know, people from a council estate have an accent, over two kids quite clearly, well, presumably if it is as it sounds, being abused by their mother. Or at least treated very harshly. Now, I'm not against punishment for kids. I do believe the reason why kids are the way they are now, less obedient, okay, I'm generalising, so people are going to get shitty with me, but generally it seems like kids get away with whatever they want because, when I was young, you got a slap. And I do believe that giving a kid a slap can be the best form of obedience training to teach that kid discipline. Because you tell them off, they don't care. Send them to their room, they've got toys. You know, you can't, they will always, well, I'm going to keep clear, come on. It just doesn't work in the same way. As a short sharp, you did this wrong, and you know when you messed up. Like when I was a kid, I didn't get slapped all that many times, but when I did, I knew I'd messed up. Now, it did get to a point in me when I was slightly older that my mum tried to do that and I just laughed at her. She never did it again after that because it just didn't work on me. But the point is, I wasn't a bad child or anything. Well, I obviously was at times because she chose to resort to that, but I don't have a problem with that. But anyway, the point of all this is that they put the fact that they're offended over the top of these kids possibly being abused. And well, H3 made a video. I've been planning to make this video for for a week or so now, and H3 put a video up as well, very recently, talking about if you're offended by something. If you're offended by something, so fucking what? No one cares. It doesn't matter. Unless it's specifically racist or something like that, in which case the law can have something to do with it. The fact of the matter is, if you're offended by something, if something was meant as a joke or was meant as a generalisation that wasn't meant as an insult, but it was a descriptive way of doing something, you know, it doesn't really matter what it is. Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean shit. And the amount of people that you see now that are picking up this, and this is everyday people, right? Because I know this is Facebook, but this is a local Facebook group. Most of the people on it are moany old people. I don't know, maybe they were younger people, I don't know. All I know is, fuck off. Here's a quote from Stephen Fry. Exactly. So fucking what, you're offended? There's shit that offends me. There's stuff said about people with dyslexia and stuff. Do you see me going, "Ree! Ree! I'm offended. I suddenly have all this power over you. You must do as I say because I am offended." No. Technically, dyslexia is a recognised disability. I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. In which case, I have more of a right to be upset about that than you know, some people getting offended by the council estate accent thing. But it actually then gets worse. Because the guy, he took so much abuse on it that he took it down and he put it back up the next day and explained the whole scenario again, but without using that term. And he didn't go into as much detail, but he just basically just said, look, this is what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to offend anyone. I'm sorry if you were offended by that. No, don't fucking apologise. As much as you may or may not like it, there are some council estates or some areas which have a high number of council estates where people have accents. I won't emulate it, even though I could very easily, because I live near a lot of people like that. But then again, it just can be similar to some people, the way some people in Portsmouth talk. But they don't live in council estates, so it's just more of an area thing. But the point is, it's understood what he meant. I mean, what else are you going to say? Her pronunciation of certain words was absolutely awful. It doesn't help. Council estate accent, boom, know what you're talking about. Anyway, so next day he posts this up. And then people jump on him. Oh, why are you just being a busybody on the internet? You know, why didn't you report this to the police at the time? Blah, 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 then digged into him for that. So he did call the police at the time, and he did do all those things, but he got so much crap because people got offended over the whole, like, you know, council estate accent thing, that it got completely lost. And his core message, which was about two little, like, 5-6-year-old lads who appeared to be being abused by their parents, just got turned into a load of adults picking out why they don't think it's fair that that's being said against me. Fuck off! In life, people are going to say things to you that you are not going to like. They're going to say things to you that are unfair. They're going to say things to you which stereotype things. And although you may fall into that stereotype, you're not an example of that stereotype. You know what I'm saying here? Like, you know, not all bikers are dickheads. In my opinion, a lot of this comes down to the voiceless getting a voice. There are certain people out there, and they go, I'm going to be stereotyping here, not everyone's like this. There are certain people out there who are very insecure about themselves, don't have any confidence, wouldn't say boo to a goose, but then they aligned themselves with some group, some organisation, some way of thinking, some faction, some ism, you know what I'm saying? And they use this to give themselves a voice, because in that position, when you're using, I mean, I'm not just going to talk about feminists, but feminists is an example of this. And there is two sides of feminism, in my opinion, and I'm not going to get into it. But the point being, some use it to be able to try and suggest that just because they're offended by something, they have a right over you, and you're wrong for saying something. Now, in some cases, that's true, but in some cases, it's really not. And now, because it's based around something that there is two sides to, sometimes it's genuine, and sometimes it's not genuine, like what's going on, like what isn't sexist, what isn't racist. It gives them, they think they can try and hide behind the fact that if you say anything against them, you're that thing. Now I'm going to generalise again, it's not entirely true, not everyone's like this, but there is a fair amount of it that if you say something against a woman, you're going to get someone call you sexist. If you're going to say something against someone who's gay, you're going to be homophobic. Even if what you're saying has no relation to, you know, their sexual orientation or their gender or anything like that. It's just, but yeah, you know, that's the one thing, and it's this, like, it's trying to use this trump card of, well, you might disagree with the way that I park, but I am a woman, and what you have just said to me, even though I'm parked sideways in a parallel bay, is sexist. He asked for it, officer. This is a whole line of subjects which, you know, a lot of people at this point in time, because it's been going on so much, are really steering clear of. And I do not blame you, because most of it is based on the internet. There is no reality to it. No one's really doing it. It's just people on the internet, you know, who are given a voice, who had no voice before, and now they've also got this backed up with this opinion that just because they're something, and you're saying something that may relate to that, they now have the upper hand, and you can't say anything back to them. And I know we are all getting sick and tired of that, but this is sort of the first time I've seen it in mainstream people who I wouldn't expect it from. But then why wouldn't I expect it? Maybe that's the biggest problem of all of this. I'm just too naive and think too much of people. I am definitely a misanthrope, there is no doubt about that. I don't like human beings. Honestly, I really dislike most human beings, but I don't dislike them all. You just have to prove yourself that you're not a complete idiot and you're not a waste of air, you know? Okay, I'm going to leave this one here. That is just that story. It's as I read it. I don't know what truth there is behind it. If the person it was about says, I wasn't abusing my kids, I didn't mention who you were or anything like that. I don't remember any of the names, the dates particularly, other than it was around Easter. I know nothing. I'm just saying that that is what I saw. And even if the original basis of, like, you know, maybe there was a misunderstanding as to what she was doing to her kids, the fact that these people then completely just went over the top about getting their offence at the council estate accent and just washing out all the like good the guy was trying to highlight these kids possibly being abused and wanting locals just to keep an eye out just in case it continues happening, because she seems to be pretty brazened about it, doesn't seem to be apologetic about it, and does it in public. So there, Fleep Nation, bro. Yeah, so there you go. Let me know what you think. It's a messed up world. Bye bye.